What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today, you're joining me with the 2023 Volvo C40 Recharge Twin. Yes, that's a mouthful. It's an all-electric crossover hatchback from Volvo. I'm going to give you guys a full tour and some of my impressions over driving it a few hundred miles in the past few days. So here we have it, the 2023 all-electric Volvo C40 Recharge Twin. Recharge meaning all-electric, twin meaning dual motor. And this is a hatchback crossover small SUV from Volvo. It's almost 400 horsepower, 300 kilowatts. I'm going to give you guys a full tour to start, and then I'll share some of my impressions. So this one we have in white. I don't know what Volvo calls it, but it's pretty nice white. It has some nice metallic when the sun hits it. We're on, let's see, 19-inch wheels, 235/50 R19. These wheels seem fine. They look pretty nice to me as far as I can tell. We do have the nice kind of black shadow trim here. And this is actually a rental car that I got from Avis. It was part of their intermediate elite electric class that they use the Mustang Mach-E as the kind of example vehicle for. And in this class, I've actually gotten an Ioniq 5, I've gotten the Genesis G80, and I've gotten this Volvo C40. So quite a bit of variety, of course, dependent on your location in that class, which is pretty cool. Looks like we do have some trim loose here and a piece of trim missing, which is a little bit weird. I'm not sure what's going on there, but again, it's a rental car, so it is what it is. Don't take that as indicative of the vehicle as a whole necessarily. Just give you guys a quick walk around on the exterior. Here you can see the kind of slope down rear roof line. That's what changes on or between this and the XC40 Recharge. So this and the XC40 Recharge and the Polestar 2, as well as some other Geely products that are not sold in the US market, they share Volvo's SPA platform. That's actually shared between both combustion vehicles and electric vehicles. So this is not a dedicated electric vehicle platform, but it still does it pretty well. So you can see C40, Volvo, and then Recharge Twin, because again, this is the dual motor all-wheel drive. We've got a kick hatch back here if it wants to work. I accidentally triggered it with a charge cable the other night. There we go. So I did that completely hands-free. Power lift gate, of course. I do like how they do this cover. So it has the little strings, kind of Volkswagen style, to lift that up. Then it does have the little bumpers here as well to go against the actual hatch and keep it from rattling. You've got this nice floor. You'll notice here it's kind of twin or hinges, and then it has that little bag icon. You can see it on both sides there, because you can do this, which is pretty cool. So it locks into place. And then you have this space up here that you can put your bags or whatever and prevent them from sliding around. So really nice touch from Volvo there. In here we have a jack and lug nut wrench. We also have the level 2 mobile connector that's included. I believe this is 40 amps. Yes. Output max 40 amps, which is pretty great. I believe these are made by Juice Booster, if I remember correctly, which are nice and solid. And you got a NEMA 1450 plug there. These do come with a NEMA 515 as well. It might just not be in here because, again, rental car things. Oh, never mind. It's on there. So there we go. Your standard wall outlet. So good options there. That's a very solid standard mobile connector. No complaints there. That is pretty much best in class aside from the Tesla mobile connector. This is actually marginally better than the Tesla mobile connector because it's 40 amps instead of 32 amps. However, the Tesla mobile connector is a lot cheaper to replace and has more adapter options. So pros and cons, of course. But again, this is super slick. You also have even more storage under there, so that can actually fold up flat there if you need it to be full height cargo space. And then that just goes back down like that. Super nice. Let's close that. You can, of course, adjust the different heights too. There's your backup camera, of course. Let me clean that off while I'm at it. Been a bit rainy here. Coming around to the side, we'll also go into the front, and then we'll go into the full interior. Yeah, it's got that sloping roof line. Personally, I prefer the XC40 rather than the C40. You don't really have any downside to the XC40, but you do have downside to the C40 because you lose space. Maybe a little bit of improved efficiency, who knows? Let's go to the charge port while we're out here. This charge port, I would say, is in the correct location, if you will, at least for consideration for use of the Tesla supercharger network when Volvos and Polestars get access, probably later this year would be my guess, because then it's in the same spot as a Tesla, driver rear. Not a bad charge port door. It's fine, nothing special. It's manual, push in to open. This, at least on my Polestar, I ripped out immediately because I really am not a fan of these covers at all. But I guess if you do a lot of outdoor AC charging, maybe not the best thing to have those pins exposed, but I always just rip those out. I don't think they're very beneficial. And we, of course, have CCS, one as you would expect in North America. Nothing special. That's your stop charge button. So, yep, it's a charge port. It works. We'll open the front trunk. So to do that, we actually have a manual release down here. So you just pull that, you get a little chime that it's open. Do not drive for obvious reasons. And then unlike a Tesla, this will not just pop open. You actually have a secondary release, more like a gas car. So cool trick for any Volvo. You can actually follow this line on the emblem. And then this is where your latch will be. So it's right here, push up, and there we have it. So that's our front trunk, and it is dual latch there, or sorry, yeah, kind of dual class, but the secondary is only on one side. And it looks like we don't have a front trunk, but we do. So open this. Got a little latch there just to keep it dust proof. And then we've got a little bit of space. I guess you could put your level 2 connector up here. This is just to make it that it's not big enough for like a child or something to sit in here because there's no emergency release. And my understanding is if you have something that prevents it or makes it a small enough space, then you don't need that secondary release, because in theory you could put a small child in here and they'd be trapped because there's no secondary release. For obvious reasons, don't do that. But yeah, this is removable if you need to store a little bit more stuff. And then there's also this insert that's actually screwed in here with your tow hook and air compressor kit, the little doohickey to remove the lug covers, and you have some tire sealant, which I don't really recommend ever using personally, but it's there if you're really, really in a pinch. Or you could remove this if you wanted, and then you'd actually have a little bit bigger front trunk. That's probably what I would do personally. And then I would probably just put these things back in here, just not in a giant foam thing that's taking up a lot of space, and leave this out. And then you actually have a pretty sizable front trunk that's probably not that much smaller than a Tesla Model Y or similar. We'll put that back. We'll close this, and then we'll shut this giant clamshell hood. Just look how big this thing is. I would not want to have to do paint protection film on that, or to have to replace that, because that is probably not cheap. So we'll just kind of give that a nice shut, make sure it's shut. We also have a camera up here for your 360 camera, so pretty nice there. Fog lights, you've got your projector headlights. Let's check out the interior. We'll start in the back seat. So this seat in the front is set for me. I'm 6'3". So definitely not a small person. You've got pretty nice door cards here. These doors open not quite 90 degrees, but open pretty wide. You've got your lock button, window controls. You've got some speakers back here. Nice kind of aluminum finished door handle. And then you have this nice carpet in your door pocket and kind of all around the door card. So nice premium material. We've also got some storage here for any knickknacks and that for the rear passengers. We'll unbuckle this. Rental car things, they just had that latched. I don't really know why. We'll get in. My feet fit well under the seats, or yeah, under the front seats. However, sitting behind myself as a 6'3" person is not the most comfortable. My knees are jammed into that front seat, which is not great. I'd say if I had a shorter person in front of me, or if it was a shorter drive and I just needed to, I could have my knees kind of out like this, I wouldn't love it, but it would be fine. You've got your rear vents, so definitely dog approved if you have a dog. You have this, even though this looks like a 12-volt outlet with this round cover, it's not. You actually have two USB-C, which is pretty nice actually. You have a little net back here on the door, or sorry, not on the door, on the seat. So, I don't know, you could put iPad or whatever there, or little things. And there you can kind of get a view of the front. We'll go up there in just a moment. And you can get a view of the quite nice all-glass roof. However, the all-glass roof doesn't go that far back, so the headroom area for the rear passengers is not that high, again, due to that sloping roof. So I don't know what you guys can see. I cannot see what the camera sees, but my head is right into the roof if I'm sitting up, and to kind of sit comfortably, I have to kind of duck my head like that, which is not very comfortable. So don't love that. I could be back here for a short drive, but that's about it. Let's go up to the front. Ugh. It is not too fun to get out of that, but it could be worse, but it could definitely be better. So we'll go up to the front driver area. Again, door card looks quite similar as you would expect. We also have this very nice trim that it's pretty dark during the day, but at night it actually has light shining through it and becomes a really nice, like, kind of white, almost monotone kind of topography kind of display. It's super cool looking. One of my favorite trims. I made a tweet about that. I'll probably link that in the pinned tweet because it's pretty hard to capture. Here you have your memory seat function, so you can set 1 or 2. Mirror controls, lock, unlock, window controls, of course. Again, that kind of carpet line door card reduces rattles, but on this side it is not lined. It's just hard plastic. Here you can see the nice seats in typical Volvo fashion. Very nice looking and also quite comfortable seats. You have this adjustable thigh support, which as a person with long legs, I certainly appreciate. Power seat controls with lumbar, up, down, forward, back, and tilt. Small carpet floor mat. You also have a little pocket here. I'm really not a fan of these kinds of pockets personally. They just seem like they're asking for something to fall out and then end up in your footwell, which is a safety hazard. And here you can see what it looks like here. And you'll notice that there's no start-stop button. There's a spot where it would be on a gas version of the same car, but there is not on this one. So let me just show you guys how you start this. You get in, you put your foot on the brake as you do in any vehicle. And unlike a Tesla, putting your foot on the brake alone does not start it. You do actually have to put it in gear. So we'll look here, and then you can see that that is what actually started the vehicle. It's telling me I don't have my seatbelt on, which I do not. And here you can see some of the stats. I resetted the manual or trip manual when I got the car, so I put just over 200 miles on this rental. And you can see some pretty poor efficiency there, 460 kilowatt hour per 100 miles, which translates into 460 watt hour per mile. And if you're aware of EVs, you'll know that that's quite bad. However, I will note that this is about 400 horsepower. It's a pretty fun vehicle to drive, and I have not been driving it that gingerly. It's also been a little bit on the chilly side, so take that efficiency number with a grain of salt. That's not necessarily indicative of it overall. However, I will say that it doesn't seem to be the most efficient vehicle, unfortunately. I'd say 400 watt hour per mile is probably a pretty realistic estimation of what you could expect in normal driving with this. We have the steering wheel here. Overall, pretty nice, feels nice. It is heated. You'll notice over here on the steering wheel, we do not have adaptive cruise control or lane keeping. So this vehicle is not equipped with pilot assist, as Volvo calls their driver assistance system, which means it doesn't even have adaptive cruise. I personally find that to be very disappointing in a vehicle that costs mid to high $50,000 range, even crossing into the $60,000 range. In competing with Tesla vehicles, I think that adaptive cruise control and lane keeping should just be standard in 2024. But unfortunately, it is not here, which is a miss by Volvo, and also on Polestar. Polestar requires you to get their pilot pack in order to get ADAS. Here you can see the vents. They're pretty nice. These move up and down manually, and then these twist to open or close. So very nice tactile controls. You can hear this click. So very nice there, nice build quality. This screen runs Android Automotive, not to be confused with Android Auto. So Android Automotive is actually an entire vehicle operating system, whereas Android Auto is actually just the screen mirroring similar to Apple CarPlay. So this is actually running full Android, or not quite full Android, but a variant of Android. And you can see it does actually support Apple CarPlay, so you can do wired CarPlay on this. But I have not used it once in my time with this vehicle as a rental. And normally in any non-Tesla, I find myself using CarPlay pretty much immediately. However, the maps on this are excellent, and it even has route planning and estimated arrivals. So let's just navigate as if I'm going back to Charlotte, North Carolina. So you can see it's using Google Maps, nice and quick search. So here you can see it's adding in charging stops. We're at 89% right now, so pretty decent charge. And it's added in 4 charging stops. Let's see route details. So almost 4 hours of charging, crazy. So it first wants us to go to an EV Connect in Findlay. I don't know where that is. I guess Ohio. So let's tap on this, get some more details. So it looks like that's a 50 kilowatt. That's a little bit of an odd choice at a dealership. Then we have a Circuit Electrique, which is also strange because Circuit Electrique does not exist in the US. So again, a bit strange. That's 150 kilowatt, so that's acceptable. Maybe that's just one of the roaming partners. Looks like these are some of the roaming agreements. So this might be an EVgo. Again, a little bit strange there. Here we have a charge point in Charleston, West Virginia, and that seems like a poor choice. However, there are no CCS stations of high power in West Virginia, or very few at this point. And then we do have an Electrify America in Wytheville, Virginia. That seems like a solid choice, though personally I would probably go to the Circle K. I'm a little partial to that one in Wytheville. Let's see if we can change these somehow. I guess not. But, I mean, overall, not bad route planning. You can actually customize which charge cards or which networks you want to use. Route details, and then I believe this button here. So we can change which networks. So we have supercharger non-Tesla, which once the supercharger network opens for Volvo Polestar, that should be a pretty quick update for them to fix. Let's just have Electrify America, charge point, and EVgo, I guess, enabled. And let's see if it reroutes. So it did that. And now it's giving us that same EV Connect. It's giving us an in-charge station. I don't know which, Grove City. So that's at a Chevrolet, 120 kilowatt. That seems acceptable. I don't know if I would bank on a dealership charge personally, but not terrible. And then oddly enough, it's now having us go to the Circle K in Wytheville rather than the Electrify America. So again, a bit strange, but seems to work fairly well. And that's actually the Norwegian Circle K support number, and Eon Drive doesn't exist in North America. So definitely some interesting quirks of this navigation route planning system. I would definitely make sure you take a look at the route it's proposing, make sure it makes sense. However, the estimate on arrival is quite good. So maybe it's worth doing some manual route planning as far as the stops, but still using the estimated arrivals that it gives you, because those are quite good. So we'll confirm, and then you'll see what it looks like when we're actually in the navigation view. You can see 58% on arrival, gives you time, mileage, all that fun stuff. You can do alternate routes just like that. So this is pretty slick. I've been using the Bluetooth audio. You also have car status, of course. And then you do have settings. So driving dynamics, this has great one pedal driving, as I've mentioned previously in my Polestar videos from when I had that. It has lane keeping aid, which is kind of like a lane departure warning. And I'm actually going to turn off the steering feel firm. Try that out. I have not tried that out. Overall, it feels fine in that setting, so no complaints. You have charge limits. You have current limitations, so you can adjust the charge current if you'd like. I did charge it up to 100% earlier, so disregard that. That's not what they recommend. It has a charge timer, so you can set start and finish. You can also log into your Google account. It will sync your Google Maps and everything, so that works really well. You can see the system version just so you guys know what software update it's on. So we're on, let's see, checking for updates, 2.7, just for context to date this video. Here you can see the little camera button, so it has a backup camera, as every car does, of course. Also has a 360 camera. I really wish you could have the 360 camera and the backup camera open at the same time. You can also switch between the different cameras if needed, including the front camera, which is really nice for close parking if you do nose in. Got some settings there, wheel guidelines and such. The rear auto brake definitely works. Had it slam on the brakes earlier when I was getting close to something, and that was not the most fun experience, but hey, at least it works. You have dual zone climate control with automatic, of course, and then heated seats down here, and heated steering wheel is somewhere. I know I've used it. Let's see if I can remember where I found it. Or maybe it doesn't have a heated steering wheel and I'm going crazy. That is also entirely possible, but I'm pretty sure it was on. Anyway, here you have your defrost buttons. You have a play, pause, volume knob, as you can see there. It's a volume knob. Front defrost, rear defrost, skip. I believe that's a memory card slot. That's not a button. Down here, you do have a 12-volt outlet. Here you have your USB-C for CarPlay, and then this USB-C is power only. I must say, I really appreciate automakers that give you both options of a power only and a CarPlay. Not great if you have a passenger, but I like being able to just plug in for power only if I don't want to use CarPlay, like I often don't. Or, well, I guess in most vehicles I would probably use CarPlay, but in this vehicle I don't. Down here we have a wireless charger. Not the worst location, not the best location either. It's fine. We have a nice little ashtray if that's up your alley, or you can just like stash little things there, I guess. Gear shifter taking up space for no real reason. I would prefer having a column shifter, but that's asking a lot. You've got the nice little trash can. So you can put trash in there, and then this whole thing just comes out, and then you can just dump it out wherever. Pretty decent sized console, or you could actually leave that out if you wanted and have easier access in there. We'll put that back. Not bad. Again, passenger seat. Nothing too special. Just like the driver's seat, and then you can see that trim as well across the passenger side. So now that you've seen the C40 Recharge, giving you a full tour, some demo of the infotainment, you might be asking, do I like this car? And I'd say overall, I actually like this quite a bit. It's quite comfortable. The suspension is pretty, I'd say on the firmer side, but very refined. It's not harsh. It drives really well. It's way faster than anyone would expect, being like 400 horsepower. It's probably faster than a Model Y long-range all-wheel drive. I'd have to look up the numbers, but it's no slouch. This thing boogies. It's the same motors and everything as a Polestar 2, including the Polestar 2 Performance. Actually, no, the Polestar 2 Performance now has that boost that gives it a little bit more output. But the same as earlier Polestar 2s before they created that new software package. So definitely no slouch, drives great. Pilot assist on vehicles that are equipped with it, their ADAS system it's quite competent. And overall, this is really nice. The Android Automotive System actually makes this car, in my opinion. If it didn't have the Android Automotive System, the really good route planning, just overall good software, including like Spotify, all that fun stuff, this would actually be a significantly worse car. However, that makes it quite nice. The problem becomes the price. This is a $55,000-ish car. It does not qualify for the federal tax credit. It's made in Sweden, which makes it a pretty hard value proposition, especially when you can get a brand new Tesla Model Y long range that is in a lot of ways more capable, has more range, is more efficient for quite a bit less money. You can get a brand new Model Y for right about $40K or less, including the tax credit that's now a point of sale that you just get it off right when you purchase it. And that's a hard value to beat. You also have the supercharger network already. You have the plug-in charge on the network. Of course, we'll see how that goes with Volvo when the network opens to them. I like this car. I could recommend it. However, I don't think I could recommend buying one of these new unless you are just a diehard Volvo fan, or if money just doesn't mean much to you. If the cost isn't a factor and you want a nice electric car that's a Volvo, this is a great option. However, if money does matter to you, as it matters to most people, these are actually very competitive on the used market. You can get one of these used. I just looked. There's a couple in the high $20,000 range, a lot in the low $30,000 range. And personally, I would go with the XC40 Recharge with the bigger trunk and not the sloped roof. And those are going for even less. There's some higher mileage examples going for the low $20,000 range. But you can get a pretty reasonable mileage example in the mid to high 20s, easily low 30s if you want to get picky. And at that point, that's a pretty easy recommendation. This is a very solid car. With the Android Automotive System, you're going to get updates. You have the route planning. And once this car has supercharger access as well, you're going to have really easy charging. And there's really not a whole lot to dislike about this. The back seat, again, is not the most spacious, but that's fine if it doesn't matter to you. Ride is nice. It's a premium interior. And Volvos just have a nice image to them. I like to say that a Volvo is one of those cars that you can take to the country club or you can take to Walmart, and no one's really going to look at you differently otherwise. There's plenty of people that are wealthy that drive Volvos, plenty of people that are not so wealthy that drive Volvos. Volvo is just one of those cars that it's pretty unassuming. It's not like pulling up in a BMW. It's not like pulling up in a Honda. Like, it's just kind of one of those subtle, nice cars that everyone kind of appreciates and respects. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys think of the Volvo C40 and XC40. Comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for watching.